Committee in this application for judicial review, and I also represent the National Pharmacy Association. My learned friend, Mr. Wardle, represents the Department of Health.
Morning, my lord. And ladies.
The PSNC case concerns changes to the remuneration of pharmacists, which the Secretary of State announced on the 20th of October 2016. And the PSNC is a statutory consultee, and that's important. The NPA isn't a statutory consultee, but it is an interested party in the case. And the Secretary of State's decision involved changes to the drug tariff from the 1st of December 2016 and the financial impact on community pharmacies, which took effect from last month. The PSNC seeks an order quashing the imposition of reductions in the sums paid to pharmacy owners for services to NHS patients, and an order requiring the Secretary of State to conduct a lawful consultation. So in order to succeed in the judicial review application, the PSNC and the NPA must show that the Secretary of State has either failed to comply with the law, or made a decision that's irrational, or failed to take all relevant factors into account, or has taken irrelevant factors into account. Now, as I've mentioned, the PSNC brings this case as a statutory consultee, and the PSNC is very sorry to be in court, because the PSNC has a very good working relationship with the Department of Health going back many years. The National Health Service Act, which is where you will find the key law in this area, says that the Secretary of State must determine the remuneration of pharmacists who provide NHS services. But before doing that, he must consult the PSNC. The PSNC's case centres on the consultation that the Secretary of State undertook before making his decision last October, and I'll explain that in a moment. The NPA supports the arguments raised by the PSNC and also puts forward some different arguments. I'll start with the PSNC's case. One of the key dates is the 17th of December 2015. Now, we know that before that date, the Secretary of State had given a commitment to the Treasury to cut pharmacy remuneration by an agreed sum. And on the 17th of December 2015, the Department of Health sent a letter to the PSNC. That's what the letter looked like. It ran to several pages, and the letter dealt with a number of different issues. Amongst other things, the letter said that the PSNC was invited to enter discussions with the Department of Health on changes to the community pharmacy framework. The reason given for the proposed reduction in remuneration was said to be cuts in funding from central government. In fact, the PSNC doesn't entirely accept that and says it's really about the number of pharmacies, and I'll return to that shortly. That December 2015 letter claimed that it was the start of a consultation process. And I've mentioned that the National Health Service Act says the Secretary of State must consult the PSNC before determining remuneration. And the consultation has to be lawful, obviously. So there's a lot of case law that tells the courts what a lawful consultation requires. And that these are some of the requirements of a lawful consultation, we say. Firstly, the proposals must still be at a formative stage. You could put that another way. At the start of the consultation, the person who's conducting it, here the Secretary of State for Health, mustn't already have made up his mind about what the outcome is going to be. Secondly, a key feature of the PSNC's case, it has to include sufficient information for intelligent consideration and response. And lastly, again you think this is obvious, the responses must be taken into account. Because the National Health Service Act says the Secretary of State must consult the PSNC before determining remuneration. If the consultation isn't lawful, then the remuneration decision can't be lawful.
The problem that my learned friend has is that his submissions really demonstrate a fatal and fundamental flaw in the case against the Department of Health. The decision that was made, that has been made, was not made in isolation. It was not made in a vacuum. And this is a fundamental misconception in the PSNC's case. The Department of Health and the PSNC have a long history of constructive negotiation. This has taken place over many years. These discussions and negotiation are themselves a form of consultation, and that is completely different from the sort of process suggested by my learned friend. It is different, fundamentally different, from a rigid, legalistic consultation that might be applicable in other types of cases. Secondly, the law does not require the court to pore over consultation documents and find unfairness because of occasional gaps in information. What my learned friend is going to attempt to do is take individual documents and individual sentences in isolation and say, aha, this process was unfair because of these comments, and that simply is not what the law requires you to do. This decision was made in the round. In fact, there was a long process of discussion in relation to the government's proposals, which went on for jolly nearly a year.